Hello guys and welcome back to the Import-Export Hub channel. Bogdan here, your biased host for the next couple of minutes. Thanks for joining me, by the way. I hope you're all enjoying your day. And guys, without prolonging too much this intro, allow me to cover France's export dynamics for the 2019-2023 timeframe relative to the top 20 headings that had the largest absolute positive and negative changes in terms of exported values, with 2023 as the reference year if you want, while towards the end of the video I will cover France's top 20 headings with the lowest variability for the same time frame, with the coefficient of variation as a proxy for this endeavor. So with this in mind, let's see the top 20 headings that saw the largest absolute positive changes in 2023. And as we can see here, heading 8411 had the largest change. We are talking about some $4.8 billion. Motor cars followed with almost $3.9 billion, while on the third spot we see powered aircraft heading 8802 with some $3.8 billion and an overall export value for 2023 around $30.4 billion, unfortunately showing a negative 7% compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years. And I don't know, the list goes on with parts and accessories for tractors with some $1.8 billion positive change. Tractors follows. Then we have beauty or makeup preparations with $1.3 billion positive change and some 4% compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years. What else do we see? Trunks, suitcases, and the like is also present in this list with some $953 million change. Perfumes follows. Then we see electric generating sets and rotary converters, so heading 9502 with a positive change around $644 million. And towards the end of the list we see boards, panels, consoles, cabinets, and the like, heading 8537 with a positive change of $434 million for 2023. On the 19th place we see transmission shafts, while on the 20th spot we see heading 8501, so electric motors and generators with a $417 million change, which is almost identical with the previous heading, bringing the overall exports from this particular heading to some $2.5 billion. And if we couple with the double-digit compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years, we could say with a pretty high confidence that on the short to medium term at least the prospects are positive, especially if we consider the shifts happening in the automotive sector. And of course I'm speaking here about the transition towards electric vehicles. So guys, what can I say about these top 20 headings? Well, chapter 87, so the automotive one, is pretty well represented here with 4 headings. Chapter 84 together with chapter 85 have 3 headings each, even though for the latter in terms of cumulative value it has only a 5th. Then we have chapters 88, 33 and 71 with 2 headings. Chapter 88, by the way, deals with aircrafts and helicopters. And then the rest of 4 chapters have only 1 heading in this top 20 list. But even so, if you look at the chapter 30, it has the second largest amount of overall exports in 2023 with some $26.8 billion. What else can I say? Well, except for the 2 headings, except for 2 headings in this list, the rest of 18 had a positive compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years, with impressive figures concerning heterocyclic compounds, so heading 2933, And the same goes true for heading 8701, so tractors other than tractors of heading 8709. Otherwise, nothing that, let's say, attracts my attention, so I will move to the largest absolute negative changes for 2023. And the largest contraction was registered in relation to heading 1001, so wheat and methylene, and we see a $3.4 billion contraction. Electrical energy follows on the second spot with almost $1.7 billion, and the podium, let's say, ends with cruise ships, ferry boats, and the like, with a contraction of $1.38 billion, and an overall export value for this 2023 around $2.2 billion. And we see on the list petroleum gas, flat rolled products of iron or non-alloy steel, so heading 7210 with some $874 million contraction. We see undenaturated ethyl alcohol with a contraction of $547 million. We see polymers of ethylene in primary forms, which is also present here with almost $477 million contraction. Biodiesel, we see ferrous waste and scrap with $428 million negative change. And towards the end of the list, we have other paper and paperboard uncoated in rolls with some $331 million contraction. Radar apparatus heading 8526 follows. And on the 20th spot, we see mineral or chemical nitrogenous fertilizers, so heading 3102 with some $313 million negative change, but still in the positive territory in what concerns the compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years. So guys, these were the top 20 headings that saw the largest absolute negative changes, and I don't know, quickly looking at them again, we see a lot of commodity related headings like, I don't know, petroleum, iron or maize, for example, where big volatilities are to be expected, of course, so nothing worrying here, at least from my point of view. Otherwise, nothing that gets my attention in terms of a structural shift. So I will now move to my last sheet, guys, where I will cover France's top 20 headings with the lowest variability. A starting point, if you want, in analyzing France's competitive advantage relative to its exports, considering these last 5 years. And as we can see here, it seems that heading 80804 had the smallest coefficient of variation, 0.0242 to be precise. Gloves, mittens and meats follows with a coefficient of variation of 0.0246, so very, very close to the previous one. And guys, I wouldn't be surprised here to find out that, I don't know, 90% of these exports are done by only one company from France. But anyways, on the third spot, we see live bovine animals with a coefficient of variation of 0.0269 and some $1.77 billion worth of exports in 2023. Which is the largest amount for this 2019-2023 time frame. And then the list goes on with diazo, azo or azoxy compounds. I really don't know what these are. Apparatus based on the use of X-rays is also here. Sanitary towels is present with a coefficient of variation of 0.0379. Then we see other oil seeds, tapioca and substitute follows. I wouldn't have expected this, but anyways, meat of swine, fresh, chilled or frozen is next with a coefficient of variation of 0.0423. And towards the end of the list, we have air or vacuum pumps, textile products for technical use is on the 19th spot with a coefficient of variation of 0.0447, and the list ends here with heading 5401, so sewing thread of man-made filaments with a coefficient of variation of 0.0455. And again, quickly looking at this list, we have some two medium-sized clusters with two headings for each chapter, and I'm talking about chapters 84 and 85, while the rest are subclusters rather, so hyper-specialized ones, if you ask me, like heading 5401 and 2927, even though we're not talking about big export values similar to heading 3004. Otherwise, the compound annual growth rates for the last 5 years are quite good, even though we see some small negative changes for a couple of them. But overall, these are the headings where, let's say, France's exports variability relative to the value is the smallest. As I've said previously, these are hyper specialized products. I dare to say that by extrapolating, this is the case for all big industrials economies. So nothing really interesting, let's say. So guys, with this last sheet being covered as well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I really hope I've managed to provide you with some useful information. Thank me by hitting those small vanity buttons below this video. And as usual, until next time, keep your business safe. Thanks.